Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Case for Construction Culture podcast. I'm here with Brandon Anderson from Missouri. I'm super excited, Brandon. Good morning.
Good morning.
We're at the AGC National Convention here in Minneapolis, so welcome to Minnesota. Brandon has so much experience. He's been in the construction world, three decades?
Almost.
DOT down in Missouri, and now you're VP of Safety for the AGC of Missouri.
That's correct.
And you're co-chair of the Suicide Awareness and Prevention Committee, which is super close to my heart, as I've been touched by suicide very, very closely.
Many have.
Different ways than you, but you're a keynote speaker. You do so many different things. You're a change agent to me, primarily, Brandon, and you're really interesting. So welcome to the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yes. I always like to start with what are you excited about, either in Kansas City or across the country in your work? I know you work with Mandy Keim a lot.
Yep.
Who's the AGC out of Washington
Sure do.
State. But I don't know, what are you getting excited about? What keeps you going? I mean, this is hard work.
Yeah.
I mean, it's rewarding work, and I'm impressed with what you've done. But what gets you excited, even in the midst of the challenge of it all?
Yeah, it's a fair question. I would say that, having been asked that question multiple times over the years throughout my career, it's I've watched it, looking back, it's evolved, the answer, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
And where we're at today as a construction industry, I'm excited really about the future and what the future holds. There's a lot of doom and gloom. There's a lot of unknowns and fears. The workforce shortage is huge, right? We've gone for 25, almost 30 years of pushing 4-year education versus 4-year trades, right? An apprenticeship program, so to speak. So, in tech schools and so on. So, and now that's kind of, the past few years, we're kind of seeing a rebirth of that, or a direction, a sway or a lean back towards those types of educational opportunities and the workforce. So I'm really excited about what the future holds with technology, AI, and I'm sure we'll probably get into some of this. It's going to look very different for construction going forward.
My son is telling me, Dad, he's 24, Dad, AI is going to get weird. I thought it already was weird.
Yeah.
He said, no, Dad, in 5 or 10 years, people won't even have friends, flesh and blood friends, they'll have AI friends, right?
Yeah.
But I love your optimism, Brandon, despite all. You've been through a lot, and I don't know if you want to share any of your own story, of any other parts of your story of how you came up through the trades and how you got to where you are today.
Yeah.
But any piece of your story you want to share with our listeners?
I think the thing to really share to drive home is I'm just like everybody else, right? There's really, it sounds cliche, there's nothing special about me, so to speak.
You can just bench press a lot more than I can.
That's so funny. Hopefully that gets cut out. No, the industry is made up of the most incredible, as I describe it, individuals. I would put our industry up against any other industry out there. We have a get it done mentality. We care about one another. I mean, let someone's house or burn down, or somebody, God forbid, come down with cancer diagnosis, and we're passing the hard hat, right? At the same time, our industry is challenged with the transient workforce. We're challenged with the paycheck to paycheck, type situations, and I've lived through all that. I came up in the industry. I come from multiple generations in construction and family-owned companies to where I am today, and having experienced a lot of that, and with that, the struggles of the big hot topic for the past couple of years, and I believe will continue to be, is the mental health aspect around our workforce.
Absolutely.
We're struggling with suicidal ideation. We're struggling with substance use disorders, or I prefer the word addiction personally, because it's not just alcohol and so to speak, drugs or prescription or street drugs. It can be food. It can be exactly.
Sex.
So many other things. Yeah, absolutely. And the industry's riddled with it, and we're trying to address it. I think try is probably not the correct word. I think we are addressing it. There's work to be done, but it's not in vain by any means. And again, like I said, I can relate. I've experienced a lot of it myself personally and professionally, having held multiple roles as a supervisor and senior employee, with seeing it, and then also just living through it myself.
Yeah. Well, to me, you're very authentic, Brandon. I think people quickly see that you're the real deal. You've had your own suffering. You don't hide it. You don't tout it. But I think you're a real man and a strong man and a vulnerable guy who can show his other side, which is one thing we're all trying to do.
Yeah.
How do we stay tough, stay strong, get the work done, but be human and be real, and then do safety well? I mean, you're juggling a lot, and as you think about all that, what are some of the particular challenges that you see, like for yourself, within your niche of safety and your commitment to mental health in the industry, how it is, even though you're optimistic, what are some of the things you see as a challenge that might keep you up a little bit at night? Or,
Yeah, so there's a number of them. I mean, and there's the typical things that come to mind. I think some of our biggest challenges we're going to need to address is really the diverse workforce we have, and from so many different aspects, whether it's a language barrier or cultural differences, the generational difference. We still have, I mean, we're in a situation in our industry where there's 4, 5 solid generations working simultaneously, each one unique. Each one has a different set of values and upbringing. They communicate, listen differently, believe differently in many aspects. And
did you say 5 generations?
Roughly, yeah.
5?
Yeah, there's a whole demographic of individuals, and no disrespect to the veteran workforce, and I don't mean military by veteran, I mean those that have been around a long time, that you look at the numbers, by all rights, typically should have retired already, but they're holding on, whether it's a financial issue, the economy, whatever's occurred, they've had to continue working. At some point, they're going to hit a wall, so to speak, or their limit, right? And we're going to have a significant workforce shortage on top of the workforce shortage we already have potentially. But they communicate differently. They have a different way of doing things. And then you mix that with the newest generation and how they've been brought up with tech. I mean, there's 2 generations right now roughly that they don't know anything. They don't know what life was like prior to the internet or prior to technology, cell phones and iPads, right? They they're called screenagers is what some people.
Screenagers.
Yeah, it's what some have classified them as, kind of a slang term, so to speak, as I would describe it, that they don't know anything other than that phone or the iPad, you know? So the being mindful as leaders of the different needs when it comes to communication and listening, and then what motivates people. You've got one generation that what motivates them is I work 40 hours, I get a paycheck, I get a retirement and pension, leave me alone, I'm going to go home at the end of the day. You've got another generation, they want to know the why. Like, what is this that I'm doing? How does it impact the world around me?
The younger generation.
Yeah, for that greater cause. It's not that the other generations, it doesn't matter to them, because it does very much so, but it's not that initial driving force to what they're doing, as I see it. So I think that's going to be a challenge. Obviously, the workforce shortage will be an issue, coupled with the amount of work. We are seeing, talking to individuals coast to coast as I travel around and speak at different conferences and consult and support different organizations in the industry, I'm talking to individuals that you hear it all the time. It's kind of a catchphrase. Everyone says it every year. Oh, we've never been so busy. But really sitting back and looking, we've really not been this busy before in many cases. There's sectors and regions of the country that construction's booming. And there's others where it's a little slower, but that comes to the transient workforce. The days of working an hour from your hometown, or your house, pretty much over and have been for a long time. My stepfather that raised me, he retired in his 50s, late 50s, because he didn't want to drive 45 minutes to the job site. It had moved. The project that was supposed to kick off got delayed for a few years, and he's like, I'm just going to retire. I'm not driving that far. It takes me an hour to get to my office from my house, one way. you have folks that are traveling all over the country multiple months at a time, if not longer. Every couple of years, they're uprooting their family, if in fact that's the case, or they're just away from their family.
Which is not great.
It's
for
not.
most
It's
people,
not great for the home
especially
life.
us guys.
Yeah. Well, and women too. I see
Women
plenty of
too.
them that struggle. They're away from their
Yeah.
kids, and
Yeah.
everyone is really, man or woman.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
challenging, and it creates a new set of challenges, or it's come to the forefront. I think the challenge has always been there when that's occurred, but now it's being addressed. Right, the CEOs, the companies that are out there, the organizations, trade associations, the unions. You talked about the AGC of America National Task Force for Mental Health and Suicide Prevention. We're addressing some of these issues that are contributing to some of the mental health crisis in the industry.
Which brings me to another question, because you've mentioned mental health and suicide several times. I know it's one of your passions. And we've worked hard, many of us, me included, to get over some of the stigma of just talking about
Sure.
it. But what are some of the next barriers or challenges that you see? There's a lot left to do. Can you name one or two?
Yeah, the stigma conversation, it's always going to be an issue, right? Until society is this perfect utopia and stigma's gone altogether, it's always going to be a challenge to a certain degree. Can we address it and help chip away at it and soften it? Yes. Is it going to be gone? I struggle to believe that. Now, I think the big challenge going forward of what the next step is really the action piece. And that's something that I'm really proud of. The task force, myself, Mandy Kime, and multiple others across the country that we're associated with, it's a call to action. Companies, if you're just talking about it in May or September, Mental Health Month or Suicide Prevention Month, and that's it. Maybe you develop some hard hat stickers. And look, I'm guilty of this. We have hard hat stickers. We have posters and all the marketing campaign to address the issue with resources attached to it as well, links. But if that's all you're doing, it's not enough. It's a virtue signal to a certain degree of patting ourselves on the back, like, look, hey, we did something.
We did it. We put the 988 stickers in the
That's
porta
right.
potties.
The feedback, we started doing that years ago, and it caught on, and the feedback was tremendous. It's a private setting.
Yeah.
It's, we've all been in Johnny on the Spots, and you see the artwork and graffiti and the inappropriateness of what's drawn on there.
Yeah.
Except for those types of stickers and placards, they were leaving it alone. And that, from a ground level perspective, that tells me that they respect the message and they're not defacing it. So it means something to them, which is encouraging.
Yes.
Right? But the action piece is critical. What does action look like is the next question I always get. Yeah, it looks like reevaluating, communicating out your resources, making them readily available. It looks like training for your leadership team. AGC, our task force, went on a joint effort with U-Turn Health and Build Well and developed a supervisory training course that's online, that's free to all AGC of America members and their employees.
No kidding. That's Rich Jones.
Rich Jones,
right?
Great guy.
Wonderful guy.
Dear friend. He and I have shared the stage multiple times together. Just an incredible human with an awesome story himself and is doing good work.
Yes, he sure is.
But his team, our team, worked together and put together this incredible online training. It's about 3 hours long. It's 5 different modules. Work at your own pace. You can do it privately, computer, phone, whatever works for you. And that's to help those frontline leaders identify the signs and symptoms, how to communicate, those types of things, and so much more. It's not just that. That's what action looks like. Companies changing their culture from the top down, the messaging with viable action behind it, supporting employees. We've seen recovery-friendly workplaces take off, where individuals that have an addiction issue or substance use order, or maybe it's a criminal, case. They've made some poor choices, they've made some mistakes. They're being given a second chance. And so that's those are just a few of things that come to mind from an action standpoint. You go a step further, peer support, training up anyone from a volunteer standpoint that wants to be a peer supporter. It's kind of the catchphrase and title for these folks, but really having those trained, knowledgeable individuals that are willing on the job site to be the go-to person if someone's struggling with some kind of challenge in their life, personally or professionally.
You've used the word culture a number of times, and thank you for spelling out the next steps. I think you're as articulate as anyone I've heard about what we need to do, and you have a privileged seat.
I appreciate that.
To
Yeah.
view this. You were even in England, I believe.
Yeah,
Did
it
you and
was.
Andy go over to across the pond and talk to the
across
Parliament?
the pond. Yeah.
Who were you talking to?
Yeah, we a couple years ago connected with a gentleman over there, Carl Simon. Is become really close to him. He and I are good friends. Carl he was the direct report to Queen Elizabeth during her time and while she was alive. Yeah, interesting. Yeah, and very prestigious. And he's now an advisor to Parliament. Carl's an incredible human being, veteran to the British Empire.
Wow.
And he is passionate about mental health, and they have a national task force for the UK, similar to what we have for AGC of America.
Cool.
And there's some members of Parliament over there that are sponsors of it and oversee that work. And they've been, as we jokingly say, as Carl said, he's been stalking us. We share information, we share what we're doing.
Yeah.
And we've had a couple of group video conference calls late night because their time difference. So
Interesting.
it's been a really cool experience to partner with them. But yeah, recently they invited Mandy and I to represent AGC, to represent the industry here in the U.S. to come over. We got to tour the House of Commons, meet some individuals, got to speak at Parliament. It was truly an honor, and it's still really surreal even talking about. I'm sure Mandy would say the same.
Yeah.
Gave us a really nice award and individually, and then also recognized and gave an award for the AGC of America's task force and the work we're doing. That's really comprised of the industry. It's not just she and I, it's our brainchild we came up with, but if it wasn't for members of the industry, members of the association, it wouldn't exist. And they're just as, we represented them and the industry. It wasn't so much myself or Mandy, it was the work we're doing collaboratively.
Well, it's a recognition that you've done a ton of work, and that when somebody from another country is calling on you, and I know enough to know England has struggled as much as any country I'm aware of with suicides, as has Australia.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
No, they both are struggling.
Those are a couple of key spots. Isn't suicide one of the top causes of death in England?
Yeah. It's unfortunate. Their numbers, obviously smaller country than the U.S., but their numbers based on size are pretty dramatic.
Yeah.
It's shocking.
It's good to know that you're collaborating at that level, and we've used the word cultures here several times. How do you define culture in the context of mental health and safety? I mean, all of us in the safety, mental health world are trying to create this positive, supportive culture. Some of our cultures are still pretty old school, and even though you and I hang around with some pretty forward-thinking companies, there's plenty of pockets that are still very old school, which you and I both know. But how do you think about, or what comes to mind when I talk about culture or impacting culture or being a change agent in culture? How do you understand that? It's such a huge word, culture. What the heck? What the heck is it? How do you think about it?
No, it's an accurate description, Tom. It's I think many folks think culture and they think we go straight to the inclusive diversity side of the thought process, right? And to a certain degree, rightfully so. Again, I think the industry is more diverse than it's ever been. I mean, it wasn't too terribly long ago, there wasn't a whole lot of females in the industry.
True.
And that's just one component of a diverse culture, right? Not even getting into the actual cultural and demographics of somebody's race or background and gender necessarily, but just females being in construction is somewhat relatively new to a certain degree, right? And it's wonderful they're a part of it. It's wonderful that everyone that is in the industry now and those to come are a part of the industry. It's what makes the industry so incredible. But for me, you know, when I hear the word culture, and really what comes to mind, it's the idea that it's that tough, macho, get it done, right? Where that tough guy mentality, or tough gal, right? There's plenty of Wonder Women running around on these job sites, not just Superman. And it's really stepping back and understanding and being compassionate, you know, caring about one another. It's not, you think about safety culture, it's not just the incidents or the lagging indicators and the close calls and the recordables and all just the typical, you know, identifiable hazards of safety. It really, it's the human side of it. It's the human side of leadership. It's the human side of the industry that we really need to take a step back and take a look at and realize that the folks on these job sites, they're humans. They have families. They have lived experience. The idea that someone's going to walk onto a job site and the baggage, for example, let's say they're carrying from their personal life of maybe a loved one was just diagnosed with a terminal illness, right? Maybe their child is struggling with mental health. Maybe it's an addiction issue in the family, or they themselves are struggling with any of those things and some. But they walk across that job site, that threshold, through that gate, right? And all that just disappears. And now they're just construction worker, you know, so-and-so. No, that's unrealistic, number one. And they're people. And just like myself and so many others, I was talking to some folks yesterday that were sharing how they opened up as leaders to their crews about struggles they had faced or were facing, and it just made them human. And we need to recognize we're all human. The folks on our job sites, they're not just a warm body. I've been around the industry long enough to know, like, if you can breathe and you show up on time, we'll give you a job kind of comments. That's not what we need. We need to recognize these folks as human beings and be compassionate for what they're going through and challenged with. And then also appreciate the fact and welcome that culture of inclusivity, of including them onto the job site and embracing them, not from a hug standpoint. Okay, I'm not saying hug everybody every morning. I'm saying embracing them through an appreciation lens that they're there. If they're showing up on time, you know, I've told some folks recently, I'll take somebody that has no experience but is willing to be there and wants to be there, in most cases over someone that's been there, you know, that's got a ton of experience, 20, 30 years, over somebody else, because the person without the experience that has the desire to be there, I can train them, I can mold them into that awesome employee. Not that the other person isn't, you know, but sometimes some experience comes with some bad habits. This is how I've always done it mentality. It's harder to, you know, teach an old dog new tricks, so to speak. It can be done, but it comes with its own challenges. So both those individuals I described, and don't get me wrong, I'm not knocking one or the other, have their benefits, right? But we have to find a way to welcome them into the industry and support them. They're not just a body there to bang nails or swing iron or run equipment. They're more than that. And we're starting to see that. We're starting to see that culture shift where companies are really supporting their employees more than just a paycheck and a pension or a retirement plan or a health benefits plan, you know, and here's 2 weeks of vacation. But if you ask off, we're going to browbeat you, you know, over it. I've seen companies that have mandated PTO use.
Wow. That's a different world than what we used to have.
Literally forcing their employees to take off based on their employee evaluation, which many go through that every year annually, right? It's that dreaded evaluation time. How are you doing? How have you been doing all year? You know, bonus talk, this, that, and the other in some cases for some trades or some organizations and positions. But I know of an organization, the CEO, that actually was they were rating individuals at a needs improvement level solely based off their PTO use.
Wow.
They might have been the rock star,
Yeah.
but solely based off PTO use, they were like, you need improvement. We give you, this is an added benefit to your employment. You're not taking it. We want you to take it for your own personal well-being and that of the company. And it didn't backfire on them. It actually turned the culture around.
Wow.
Productivity went up.
Amazing.
Your incidents went down. The overall culture, morale, so much more positive.
I love the stories of culture change, and this is maybe one of the last questions. That's a great story of a positive change. Is there a story you can think of, Brandon, where you seem like you have several, where you've been a change agent, where you've impacted some change, either for good or bad? I mean, I sometimes love the failure stories too. There's so much great learning. It could be either direction, but can you think of a time where you were part of an initiative that brought forth some positive culture change for safety or for productivity? You know, we're talking about balancing safety and productivity and profitability, because you got to make money, right? You can say, hey, all this mamby-pamby, nice guy, PTO, take care of the guy. We got to get her done. We got to get shit done here, man. This is what we got to do. But there's also the human side, and I love that you embody both. But is there a story you have to share as we're wrapping this up?
Yeah, I appreciate the question to end on. Having been involved in multiple initiatives over the years, from full development of a safety program or an onboarding program for an organization to where we are today with the development, and really being handed the reins early on to the program of the mental health initiatives at AGC of Missouri, that has become a national model. That's what the task force was modeled after, and then has then been built off of since then across the country. And we're seeing organizations that and different entities, so to speak, that didn't even want to talk about mental health or suicide previously, and wouldn't even listen to us in some cases. I say that somewhat loosely, that now are almost leading the way, which is incredible. And
how many years are we talking?
We're talking, since really the past 5.
5 years.
Yeah,
that's
roughly.
about what I've seen.
Yeah, about 5 years. A little bit before COVID. AGC of Missouri started their initiative 2018, 2019. They started having conversations early. AGC of America actually got involved some years prior to that, kind of kicking the can around on the topic, so to speak, and discussing it and bringing some light to it. And then it just before COVID and then through the whole COVID experience in this country, it really, the Band-Aid got ripped off mental health.
Boy, it did.
And it really did.
COVID kind of helped us in a way, don't you think?
I've been known to say,
I don't want to do it again.
No, but I've been known to say multiple times that if any good came out of COVID, it was really the mental health. The Band-Aid got ripped off. The rug, so to speak, where we just sweep it under the rug, that rug's gone. It got thrown out with the trash. It was burnt up. I don't know where it's at, but it doesn't exist anymore. And it's in our face. And that's, in one hand, it's great. The challenge is that we have to do something about it and take action. And we, at AGC of Missouri, we have what's called the Pledge of Hope. It's under our Construction Education Foundation. It's a 501c3 program. And we are advocating for just that, to spread some hope, to take action. And part of some of the keynotes is that I have been known to do, there's a 60-second challenge. And it's really just taking that pause, that moment to be still for 60 seconds, to be present for someone, compassionate, and to listen. It's not a time to talk about how you survived. It's really recognizing their time of need for someone to be there for them. And when was the last time you were just still for 60 seconds?
60 seconds, and it's an acronym.
Yeah. Hope. So hold on, pain ends.
Hold on, pain ends.
Yep. And that's, and I truly, and that just comes from my own personal lived experience as a survivor, and hearing the stories of individuals after, after a couple of years of spreading that message around the country at different events and conferences and toolbox talks, and regardless of the size, I've had folks come up to me and share when I've ran into them or crossed paths again and said, hey, I did the 60-second thing. And it's like, what are you talking? And they're like, I did the 60-second challenge. And I never really looked at it necessarily as like a challenge before. But it's just that thought process of just be present for someone to show you care. And
so it's the 60 seconds is the person who's with the person who's struggling takes 60 seconds to be with them. Because when you're at that level of pain, and I've only come one time myself where I began to think about taking my own life. I was in Kenya, I was ill, I was disconnected, I was really depressed, but it didn't last that long, and it didn't go anywhere. But it's hard to take 60 seconds when you're at that level of emotional and physical pain.
Well, and then that's the individual that's struggling. The individual that's not struggling, the passerby, as I refer to them, like, and I've been guilty of this. You know, we walk by people, we notice there's an issue, and we don't address it. You know, we have blinders on and say, "How you doing? I'm fine, great. You doing okay? Okay," but we don't ever stop our feet. It's always in passing, right? The passerby. And too many of us have been passerbys, and I'm not saying that to guilt anyone. I'm guilty of it personally. And have still lost individuals, friends and family and coworkers. But my ask is, when you notice someone struggling or in their time of need, so to speak, crisis, or even maybe they're not in full-blown crisis, they're just having a bad day. Sure. Plant your feet.
60 seconds.
60 seconds. And hey, are you okay? What's going on? And just be present. Don't say anything else. Let them, that 60 seconds when you're intentionally still and actively listening, it probably feels like 10 or 15.
It does.
When especially in, like, again, the presentations, we've got a timer that clicks down from 60 to 0, and it is intense and nerve-wracking. And this fast-paced world we live in today, whether it's personal or professionally from the construction industry viewpoint, 60 seconds isn't a whole lot of time. But when you sit still, it sure feels that way.
Feels like a long time.
And what happens in that time, that individual that is struggling, or you ask that question, whatever that question is you asked, whether it's, are you okay, how you doing, whatever, and you're just standing there staring at them essentially, or sitting here looking at someone, in the back of their mind, a couple things are going on, I think, and from talking to folks and experiencing it. You're crazy, right? And not in a bad way. I don't, not to belittle that, but you know, the thought process, like, are you serious? And then it's a few minutes or a few seconds go by that feel like a few minutes. You realize, oh, they are serious. They want to know. They do care. And as a leader, you can show that care and compassion by just being still. And I've had numerous folks come to me and have said, hey, I did that. And they go into this heartfelt description and story of the person that, either whether it was a complete stranger, a friend or family member or coworker, that opened up and said they were struggling. And did the 60 seconds turn into a little bit of a longer period? Sure. I know of situations it's turned into all day. But that person's alive. That person's still here with us. And they got help that they needed. And quite frankly, in many cases, some of the research shows that a large percentage of individuals don't even need to go to a professional clinician or counselor. They just need someone to talk to. Well, what does that mean? They need a friend. We could all be that friend, even in a short period of time, in passing.
That's interesting.
And it can save their life.
That's interesting. I did not know that. Just to be a friend is enough. You don't need therapy or be at an institution. You just need a friend.
A lot of the time, and that's putting it simply. I mean, I'm sure folks will see this.
Some do.
They'll hear this and they'll want to disagree. And I understand that perspective as well. There's value in seeing a counselor. I mean, I've seen one myself. I haven't in quite some time, but I've gotten to a place personally and professionally where I don't feel the need to do that regularly anymore.
Yeah.
You know, I have other ways to cope and
Yeah.
relieve stress. I have other go-to safe people that I can talk to
Yeah.
when I'm struggling with something or there's a challenge in my life versus calling my doctor, so to speak.
Yeah.
Right now, there's this need for that for some, and I highly recommend people seek that out.
Yeah.
If that's what they need, or just start and see if it's what you need. Maybe you
Sure.
don't know. Don't self-diagnose
Yeah.
necessarily. So those are just. It's incredible to see the evolution from where it started to where it is, connecting dots and reflecting in my own life, personally and professionally, the impact and. Yeah, it's been humbling and a true blessing.
Well, you've done a lot of good for a lot of people, Brandon. And how can people find you?
Yeah, so I'm on LinkedIn.
LinkedIn.
I have some personal accounts on social media as well.
Yeah.
I'm not terribly active on there, and it's more
Okay.
personal than anything. But LinkedIn is a great,
LinkedIn,
is
Brandon
the best
Anderson,
way. Yep, best way to
AGC,
find me.
Missouri,
Easy to find.
mental health,
Yep.
suicide, any of those words, he'll pop up. I've
Sure,
Googled
absolutely.
him before. And, any final word from you?
No, I mean, here's what I'll say. I just ask that take the opportunity when it presents itself to be present for someone and compassionate. It's okay to be vulnerable. It's probably, I believe it takes more strength and courage to be vulnerable than it does to toughen up, so to speak. There's a need for that, but we all have an opportunity to be there for somebody, and I would much rather take that opportunity. And if that means I'm going to miss a deadline, or if that means something's going to slow down, or I'm not going to get to something I need that was on my to-do list or schedule, in order to be present for someone, that I'm going to do that. And I'd encourage others to do their best, right? Because I'm human too, and so are they. So
Awesome. Brandon Anderson.
hey, I appreciate the
Great to be
opportunity.
with you.
Yeah,
Thank you
thank
for
you,
your
sir.
time. Yes,
Yep.
sir. Yep.